La beauté du champagne, c'est que c'est le seul vin qui soit avant d'être un vin, c'est une idée, c'est une intention, c'est un projet, le champagne.
What is up guys, Julien here of Social Vignerons. Welcome back to another wine video. Today we're tasting champagne. This is episode 18 of the Tasting with Julien series. Always, as you can probably tell, very excited when I'm tasting champagne. And today is not any champagne. It's a special champagne crafted by famous champagne house Louis Roederer with a collaboration with French designer Philippe Stark. Today I'm tasting Louis Roederer and Philippe Stark Champagne Brut Nature. When I say it's not any champagne, well, it's not. First of all, it's made by famous house Louis Roederer, the house that is responsible for making one of the top and most popular of all prestige cuvées, the Cristal Roederer cuvée, that I still haven't tasted. I hope someday I can. A few years ago, they decided to collaborate with super famous Philippe Stark, French designer, to craft a brand new cuvée. Louis Roederer hadn't come up with a new cuvée since the 1970s, so totally new venture for them. I'm not 100% sure, it's not 100% clear how Philippe Stark is involved in the making of the cuvée, but what is sure is that he's tasted it, he's endorsed it, and he's designed this fun little label and this nice little looking shiny box as well. A few years ago, Roederer released the 2016 vintage, the first edition of the Roederer and Stark special edition Brut Nature cuvée. This is the second edition. This is vintage 2009. First, a little background on Louis Roederer house. It was a house super famous. It's still family owned to this day, founded in 1776. They cover about 600 acres of vineyards in some of the top places in Champagne, the Côte de Blanc, the Montagne de Reims, small amounts in the Vallée de la Marne as well. So they have top vineyards and they grow a lot of their vineyards with biodynamic techniques. Ancient technique following some ancient rules around the cycles of the moon and spraying the vineyards with natural products. So really respectful of the environment. All the grapes and all the vineyards that are used to make this cuvée are grown biodynamically. I'm going to get opening up this bottle while I talk, otherwise we'll be sitting here forever. Louis Roederer and Philippe Stark cuvée is made with 2/3 Pinot Noir and 1/3 Chardonnay. This 2009 vintage was actually bottled in 2010. Spent 6 years in the bottle lying down on its lees. My understanding is that all the grapes for this cuvée were harvested at the same time and pressed at the same time. 2009 vintage was a very warm and generous vintage, a sunny vintage, giving ripe fruit, which might explain why they've gone with Brut Nature, very little dosage, if any, very little added sugar. So I've always wanted to taste that cuvée. I've always seen this label hanging around. I've read about it a few times and I'm very excited I can finally taste it and share the experience with you, see what it's actually worth and see how good Philippe Stark's palate is. So let's pour this little baby. This is some super delightful, very shiny, lemon yellow color with golden hues. It's very super attractive, especially in this gorgeous big glass. I'm gonna pour one in a flute so you can see what it looks like as well. Ooh. So what do you think? Which glass do you think works better for this champagne? I think the big ballon glass works best. Certainly a great glass for smelling champagne. Wow, there is an awful lot going on in this champagne. I'm sort of hilarious just smelling the champagne. Lemon, fresh lemon and lemon peel, lemon comfit, lemon marmalade is what jumps out of the glass, but there's a lot of toastiness, hazelnut, brioche. It's a little smoky as well. Hints of mint, blonde caramel. It's fine, it's layered, it's soft, it smells silky just smelling at it. You know, sometimes you smell a wine and it smells like it's going to taste super soft and silky. It's quite rare. It is a little common with fine prestige champagnes, but you're definitely getting a lot of this out of the smell of this, especially from the smooth butter. You know how when you take the cookies out of the oven, how it tastes like it's gonna be so pleasing, so satisfying to taste and to try. So let's dig into this. It is indeed super soft and silky, especially flavor wise. There is a lot of roasted hazelnut. If we're talking cookies, those would be cookies that would be stuffed and packed with nuts, packed with roasted macadamia, roasted hazelnut, almond, and a bit of butter. The flavors are super smooth. They are fresh and zingy thanks to a lot of limey character. It's punchy, it's zesty. What is more surprising though is how mineral, how dry this champagne is. Yeah, it's written on the label, it's Brut nature, so sort of expect a dry, punchy, zingy, mineral style, but I'm surprised how zesty, how much tension is in this champagne. It's oily, it's generous, there's a fireworks, a big explosion of citrus flavors on the palate. But the acidity brings in so much tension, so much dryness, so much minerality. And you know, minerality is a controversial term, but here it's very clear it's mineral. It tickles the side of your palates and makes you salivate because you can almost feel the crystals of acid in the wine. There's a bit of salinity, a bit of salty touch to it, tiny phenolics, tiny tannins to the background, a super sharp, precise, punchy, zesty, like a spear, like an arrow on your palate, very precise, as well as generous, punchy, long, massive, layered, expressive champagne. Yes, there is an awful lot going on in this champagne. Super dry, bone dry, a champagne that you can definitely drink by itself, but you have to know that you're gonna have a super dry mineral experience. There's so much going on that you do wanna try it by itself before you pair it with any other type of food. If you do pair it with food, make sure you're pairing it with super fine, precise, seafood, elegant, subtle flavors. Don't go with big bold flavors. This is a champagne for fine foods, for entrees, delicate scallop, entrees, creamy seafood dishes. But do give it a try by itself, share the experience, talk with your peers, see what the flavors they find. Wine is about sharing, and this is a typical example of a wine that you do want to share. I'm here by myself, but I am going to go and share this wine. This is definitely a wine that needs to be shared, that needs to be experienced to understand. So my thoughts on Louis Roederer and Stark Brut Nature 2009 cuvée. I'm actually stunned at how good this champagne is. So much going on. It's yeah, Philippe Stark and the makers of Louis Roederer definitely have a super precise and a super sense of how to make an enjoyable champagne. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tasting with Julien. There will be more champagnes coming up. I've got some Bruno Paillard champagne, I've got some Drapier champagnes coming up. I've got Domaine Carneros sparkling wines, California champagne, even though you shouldn't really be saying this. Domaine Carneros sparkling wines, a lot of great stuff. Stay tuned on the Tasting with Julien. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you support, make sure you like this video. I do need more support, I do need more views, so share with your friends so I can continue sharing the experience with you. A huge thank you to all of you that have supported me so far. Tasting with Julien is going to keep going. I will see you soon in the wine world. Cheers. So you know those kind of ancient techniques that are following some of the rules